As the Galactic Coalition scrambles to assess the threat posed by the sudden reappearance of the ISS Indomitable, tensions run high among the various member species. The Zorgans, a militaristic race known for their aggressive tendencies, demand immediate action against the humans, fearing that their return could upset the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Meanwhile, the Eldari, a wise and ancient species, urge caution and diplomacy. They argue that the humans may have changed during their long absence, and that it would be prudent to gather more information before making any rash decisions. The coalition leadership finds itself divided, with each faction vying for control over the response to this unprecedented situation. As the debate rages on, the ISS Indomitable continues to drift silently through space, its crew still in cryogenic stasis, unaware of the chaos their return has unleashed upon the galaxy. The Supercarrier's advanced stealth technology, which had allowed it to disappear without a trace centuries ago, now works to conceal its true capabilities from the prying eyes of the Coalition. Back on the Coalition's capital world, a young Zorgan named Kralzak, the leader of a radical faction within his species, sees the return of the humans as an opportunity to seize power and reshape the galaxy in his own image. He begins to gather support among the disaffected and marginalized members of the Coalition, promising them a future free from the oppression of the ruling elites. As Kralzak's influence grows, he sets in motion a plan to infiltrate the ranks of the Coalition's military and gather intelligence on the ISS Indomitable. He believes that by controlling the Supercarrier and its advanced technology, he can overthrow the Coalition and establish a new order based on Zorgan supremacy. Unbeknownst to Kralzak and the Coalition, a third party has been monitoring the situation from the shadows. The Nazari, a mysterious and technologically advanced species that has long avoided contact with the rest of the galaxy, have taken a keen interest in the return of the humans. They see the ISS Indomitable as the key to unlocking the secrets of an ancient and long-forgotten technology that could grant them unimaginable power. As the Nazari begin to make their move, the stage is set for a collision course between the humans, the Coalition, and the unknown. The fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance, and the decisions made in the coming days will shape the future for generations to come. Aboard the ISS Indomitable, the ship's AI, known as HFY, begins to stir from its long slumber. Programmed with a directive to protect the ship and its crew at all costs, HFY assesses the situation and determines that the best course of action is to awaken Captain Ilara Vance and her senior staff from cryogenic stasis. As the crew begins to emerge from their long sleep, they find themselves disoriented and confused, struggling to come to terms with the reality that centuries have passed since they last walked the halls of the Supercarrier. Captain Vance, a seasoned veteran of the Great Galactic War, knows that they must act quickly to assess the situation and determine their next steps. With ARIA's help, the crew begins to piece together the events that have transpired during their absence, learning of the formation of the Galactic Coalition and the uneasy peace that has reigned in the centuries since the war. As they delve deeper into the ship's archives, they uncover a shocking revelation. The true purpose of their mission, which had been classified at the highest levels of the human government, was not what they had been led to believe. This revelation will force Captain Vance and her crew to confront the consequences of their actions and the true nature of their mission, setting in motion a chain of events that will shape the future of the galaxy and the fate of humanity itself. As Part 1 comes to a close, the stage is set for an epic struggle between the humans, the Galactic Coalition, and the mysterious forces working behind the scenes. The return of the ISS Indomitable has unleashed a maelstrom of conflicting interests and hidden agendas, and only time will tell who will emerge victorious in the battles to come. As news of the ISS Indomitable's return spreads like wildfire across the galaxy, the Coalition species find themselves grappling with a myriad of emotions. Fear, anger, and uncertainty dominate the headlines as the media speculates about the humans' intentions and the potential consequences of their reappearance. On the planet Zorgos, Kralzak's followers begin to rally around their leader, emboldened by his fiery rhetoric and promises of a new galactic order. They take to the streets in massive demonstrations, demanding that the Coalition take immediate action against the humans and seize control of the ISS Indomitable. As the protests grow in size and intensity, the Coalition authorities struggle to maintain control, fearing that the situation could quickly escalate into widespread civil unrest. Meanwhile, on the Eldari homeworld, a group of scholars and diplomats convene a secret meeting to discuss the implications of the humans' return. They analyze the historical records of the Great Galactic War, seeking to understand the humans' motivations and tactics. As they delve deeper into the archives, they uncover a series of inconsistencies and gaps in the official narrative, suggesting that the true nature of the conflict may have been far more complex than previously believed. Amidst the chaos and confusion, a small group of Coalition citizens begins to question the prevailing attitudes towards the humans. Led by a young Eldari named Lyra, they argue that the Coalition should seek to establish peaceful contact with the ISS Indomitable and its crew, rather than resorting to violence and aggression. Lyra and her followers begin to organize a grassroots movement, using social media and underground networks to spread their message of diplomacy and understanding. As the various factions within the Coalition jockey for position and influence, the Nazari continue to monitor the situation from afar. They dispatch a team of elite operatives to infiltrate the Coalition's intelligence networks, seeking to gather more information about the ISS Indomitable and its capabilities. As they begin to piece together the puzzle, they realize that the humans' technology may be even more advanced than they had previously believed, with the potential to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. On board the ISS Indomitable, Captain Vance and her crew continue to work tirelessly to bring the ship's systems back online and assess their situation. As they explore the vast archives of the ship's computer, they uncover a trove of classified documents and encrypted communications that shed new light on the true nature of their mission. They learned that the ISS Indomitable was not simply a military vessel, but a key component in a top-secret project aimed at securing humanity's future in the face of an impending galactic catastrophe. As the crew delves deeper into the ship's secrets, they begin to realize the enormity of the task that lies ahead of them. They know that they must act quickly to prevent the galaxy from descending into chaos and conflict, but they also understand that their actions could have far-reaching consequences that they cannot fully predict. As tensions continue to rise across the galaxy, a series of mysterious attacks begins to target Coalition outposts and installations. The attacks are swift and brutal, leaving no survivors and few clues as to the identity of the perpetrators. The Coalition leadership is quick to blame the humans, seeing the attacks as evidence of their hostile intentions. They begin to mobilize their military forces, preparing for what they believe will be an inevitable confrontation with the ISS Indomitable. However, Captain Vance and her crew suspect that there may be more to the attacks than meets the eye. They begin to investigate the incidents, using the ship's advanced sensors and intelligence-gathering capabilities to search for any clues that might lead them to the true culprits. As they dig deeper, they uncover evidence suggesting that the attacks may be the work of a third party, one with a vested interest in destabilizing the Coalition and plunging the galaxy into war. As Part 2 draws to a close, the galaxy stands on the brink of a new and terrifying conflict, with the ISS Indomitable and its crew caught in the middle. Captain Vance knows that she and her crew may be the only ones who can prevent the galaxy from descending into chaos, but she also realizes that the path ahead will be fraught with danger and uncertainty. With time running out and the stakes higher than ever, the crew of the ISS Indomitable must race against the clock to unravel the mystery of the attacks and find a way to bring peace to a galaxy on the brink of war. As the emergency meeting of the Coalition leaders gets underway, the tension in the room is palpable. Representatives from each of the major species take their seats around the circular table, their faces etched with a mix of fear, anger, and uncertainty. At the head of the table sits the Eldari High Counselor, Zoran, his ancient eyes filled with the weight of centuries of experience and wisdom. Zoran calls the meeting to order, his voice calm and measured as he outlines the purpose of the gathering. To determine the Coalition's response to the return of the ISS Indomitable and the potential threat posed by the humans, he invites each of the representatives to share their thoughts and concerns, urging them to speak freely and honestly in the spirit of cooperation and mutual understanding. The Zorgan representative, a towering warrior named Kazarak, is the first to speak. He slams his fist on the table, his voice booming with rage as he demands immediate military action against the humans. "We cannot allow these creatures to threaten our way of life," he bellows, his eyes blazing with hatred. "We must strike now, before they have a chance to unleash their weapons of mass destruction upon us all." The other representatives exchange uneasy glances, some nodding in agreement while others shake their heads in disapproval. The Eldari representative, a slender female named Lyria, speaks up next, her voice soft but firm. "We must not let fear cloud our judgment," she says, her gaze sweeping the room. "The humans may have changed during their long absence, and we owe it to ourselves and to the galaxy to at least attempt to establish peaceful contact before resorting to violence." As the debate rages on, the mysterious figure who claimed to have vital information about the ISS Indomitable makes their entrance. The room falls silent as all eyes turn to the hooded figure, who slowly lowers their cowl to reveal the face of a Nazari, a species known for their secretive nature and advanced technology. The Nazari, who introduces himself as Zethus, claims to have been monitoring the ISS Indomitable since its reappearance. He reveals that the ship's technology is far more advanced than anything the Coalition has ever seen, and that it poses a grave threat to the stability of the galaxy. He urges the Coalition leaders to act swiftly and decisively to neutralize the human threat before it's too late. As the leaders grapple with this new information, Zoran calls for a brief recess to allow each representative to consult with their respective governments and military advisors. The room empties as the representatives file out, their faces grim and their minds racing with the implications of Zethus's revelations. During the recess, Lyria seeks out Zoran, hoping to sway him towards a more diplomatic approach. She argues that the Coalition cannot afford to act rashly, and that they must exhaust all peaceful options before resorting to violence. Zoran listens carefully to her arguments, his brow furrowed in thought. Meanwhile, Kazarak and his Zorgan allies begin to mobilize their forces, preparing for what they believe will be an inevitable confrontation with the humans. They see the return of the ISS Indomitable as an opportunity to assert their dominance over the galaxy, and they are determined to seize it with both hands. As the recess comes to an end, the representatives return to the meeting room, their faces set with determination. Zoran calls the meeting back to order, his voice heavy with the weight of the decision that lies before them. He opens the floor for final statements, inviting each representative to share their thoughts and recommendations. Lyria takes the floor, her voice clear and strong as she makes a final plea for diplomacy. She reminds the other representatives of the cost of war and the toll it would take on the galaxy and its people. She urges them to consider the possibility that the humans may have changed during their long absence and that they may be open to peaceful negotiation. Kazarak counters her arguments, his voice dripping with contempt as he dismisses the idea of diplomacy as a sign of weakness. He argues that the only way to ensure the safety and security of the Coalition is through a show of force, and that anything less would be an invitation to disaster. As the debate reaches its climax, Zoran calls for a vote. Each representative casts their ballot, their faces tense with anticipation as they await the outcome. After a long and tense silence, Zoran announces the results. The Coalition will attempt to establish diplomatic contact with the humans, but will also begin preparations for military action in case negotiations fail. The meeting adjourns, with each representative returning to their respective homeworlds to begin implementing the Coalition's decision. As they depart, Zethus watches from the shadows, his eyes glinting with a cold and calculating light. He knows that the true test of the Coalition's resolve is yet to come, and that the fate of the galaxy may well rest in the hands of the humans aboard the ISS Indomitable. Little do they know that deep within the bowels of the ISS Indomitable, an ancient and powerful force is beginning to stir, its existence known only to a select few among the ship's crew. As the galaxy holds its breath, waiting for the next move in this cosmic game of chess, the pieces are already in motion, setting the stage for a confrontation that will shake the very foundations of the universe itself. As the crew of the ISS Indomitable begins to awaken from their long cryogenic slumber, Captain Ilara Vance finds herself at the center of a maelstrom of activity and uncertainty. The ship's AI, HFY, has already begun to brief her on the situation, but Ilara knows that there is much more to the story than even HFY can tell her. As she makes her way to the bridge, Ilara is struck by the eerie silence that pervades the ship. The once bustling corridors are now empty and still, a testament to the centuries that have passed since the Indomitable disappeared into the wormhole. She can't help but feel a sense of unease as she realizes the enormity of the task that lies ahead of them. On the bridge, Ilara is greeted by her senior staff, each of them looking as disoriented and confused as she feels. There's her first officer, Commander Marcus Reeves, a seasoned veteran of the Great Galactic War, who has been by her side through countless battles and campaigns. Beside him stands Lieutenant Ava Patel, the ship's chief engineer, her eyes already darting over the readouts and displays that cover the walls of the bridge. As Ilara takes her seat in the captain's chair, she can feel the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She knows that the decisions she makes in the coming hours and days will not only determine the fate of her crew, but could also have far-reaching consequences for the entire galaxy. She turns to Araya, her voice steady and calm as she asks for a full report on the ship's status and the events that have transpired since their disappearance. Araya begins to relay the information, her voice crisp and precise as she outlines the formation of the Galactic Coalition and the uneasy peace that has reigned in the centuries since the war. But as Araya delves deeper into the ship's archives, she uncovers a shocking revelation that sends a chill down Ilara's spine. The true purpose of their mission, which had been classified at the highest levels of the human government, was not what they had been led to believe. According to the files, the ISS Indomitable had been sent on a secret mission to investigate a mysterious signal emanating from the far reaches of the galaxy, a signal that had been detected by humanity's most advanced long-range sensors. The signal was unlike anything that had ever been seen before, and the human government had become convinced that it held the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe itself. But as the Indomitable had approached the source of the signal, they had encountered something else entirely, a massive, swirling vortex of energy that had appeared out of nowhere, engulfing the ship and dragging it into its depths. The crew had been forced to enter cryogenic stasis in a desperate attempt to survive, not knowing if they would ever emerge from the other side. Now, as Ilara and her crew struggle to come to terms with the revelation, they realize that they are faced with an impossible choice. Do they continue with their original mission, risking everything to uncover the truth behind the mysterious signal? Or do they focus on the more immediate threat posed by the Galactic Coalition and the other factions vying for control of the galaxy? As they debate their options, the ship's sensors suddenly come alive, detecting a massive energy surge emanating from the nearby planet of Zorgos. Araya quickly identifies the source of the surge as a Zorgan military installation, one that appears to be in the midst of a full-scale mobilization. Ilara knows that they have little time to waste. She orders Ava to begin repairs on the ship's critical systems, while Marcus works to assess the tactical situation and develop a plan of action. She knows that they will need to move quickly and decisively if they hope to survive the coming storm. As the crew works feverishly to bring the Indomitable back to full operational status, Ilara can't shake the feeling that they are being watched. She orders ARIA to conduct a full sweep of the ship's systems, searching for any signs of infiltration or sabotage. What she discovers sends a chill down her spine. Hidden deep within the ship's computer core is a series of encrypted files that appear to have been planted there by an unknown party. As Aria works to decrypt the files, Ilara can only watch and wait, knowing that the secrets they contain could hold the key to their survival or their destruction. As the crew of the ISS Indomitable races against time to unravel the mysteries that surround them, they are unaware of the forces that are already moving against them. On Zorgos, Kralzak and his followers are preparing for war, their eyes fixed on the prize that the Indomitable represents. And in the shadows, the Nazari continue to plot and scheme, their true motives still hidden from view. The stage is set for a confrontation that will shape the future of the galaxy, and the crew of the ISS Indomitable will soon find themselves at the center of a maelstrom that threatens to consume everything in its path. Only their skill, courage, and determination will stand between them and the abyss that awaits them, and the fate of the galaxy itself hangs in the balance. As the Coalition delegation approaches the ISS Indomitable, a sense of unease permeates the air. The delegates, representing the various species of the Coalition, have been tasked with making first contact with the humans and assessing their intentions. But as they draw closer to the massive supercarrier, they can't shake the feeling that they are walking into a situation far more complex and dangerous than they had anticipated. Leading the delegation is Ambassador Zara Vex, a seasoned diplomat from the Eldari species. Known for her cool head and keen intellect, Zara has been chosen to lead the negotiations with the humans. But even she can't help but feel a sense of trepidation as she gazes upon the imposing silhouette of the Indomitable. As the delegation's shuttle docks with the supercarrier, they are greeted by a small contingent of human soldiers, their faces impassive and their weapons at the ready. Zara steps forward, her hands held out in a gesture of peace, and introduces herself and her fellow delegates. To her surprise, the humans seem to be just as uncertain and apprehensive as the Coalition delegation. They escort the delegates to a large conference room, where they are met by Captain Ilara Vance and her senior staff. As the two groups take their seats across from each other, Zara can sense the tension in the room. She begins by expressing the Coalition's surprise and concern at the sudden reappearance of the ISS Indomitable and asks Captain Vance to explain their intentions. Ilara, for her part, seems just as confused and uncertain as the Coalition delegates. She explains that they had only recently awakened from cryogenic stasis and were still trying to piece together what had happened in the centuries since their disappearance. As the two groups begin to exchange information, it becomes clear that both sides have much to learn from each other. The Coalition delegates are shocked to learn of the existence of the wormhole that had swallowed the Indomitable and the mysterious signal that had drawn them to it. And the humans are equally surprised to learn of the formation of the Coalition and the uneasy peace that had reigned in the galaxy since the end of the Great Galactic War. But as the talks progress, Zara can't shake the feeling that something is amiss. She senses a strange undercurrent of tension among the human crew, as if they are hiding something from the Coalition delegates. Her suspicions are confirmed when, without warning, a massive explosion rocks the conference room. The delegates are thrown to the ground as alarms begin to blare throughout the ship. Ilara and her crew spring into action, their weapons drawn as they try to assess the situation. It quickly becomes clear that the explosion was no accident. Someone had planted a bomb in the conference room, with the intention of derailing the negotiations and sowing chaos and confusion. As the smoke clears, Zara and the other delegates find themselves caught in the middle of a crisis that threatens to spiral out of control. The humans, already on edge and suspicious of the Coalition's intentions, are quick to blame the delegates for the attack. And the delegates, in turn, are forced to question whether they can trust the humans to investigate the matter impartially. As tensions mount and accusations fly, Zara and Ilara find themselves working together to try to unravel the mystery of the saboteur. They know that they must act quickly to prevent the situation from escalating into open conflict, but they are also aware that the stakes are higher than either of them had ever imagined. As they dig deeper into the ship's systems and interview the crew and delegates, they begin to uncover a web of secrets and lies that threatens to unravel everything they thought they knew. They learn of hidden agendas and competing factions within both the Coalition and the human crew, each with their own goals and motivations. And at the center of it all lies the mysterious signal that had drawn the Indomitable to the wormhole in the first place. As Zara and Ilara race to uncover the truth behind the signal and its connection to the saboteur, they are forced to confront the possibility that they may be facing a threat far greater than they had ever imagined. With time running out and the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, Zara and Ilara must put aside their differences and work together to stop the saboteur before it's too late. But as they draw closer to the truth, they begin to realize that the greatest threat may not come from without, but from within. As the ISS Indomitable races through space, its crew and passengers locked in a desperate struggle for survival, the stage is set for a confrontation that will determine the future of the galaxy itself. And at the center of it all, two unlikely allies will find themselves fighting not just for their own lives, but for the lives of every sentient being in the universe. As the situation aboard the ISS Indomitable grows more tense by the moment, Captain Ilara Vance and Ambassador Zara Vex find themselves in a race against time to uncover the identity of the saboteur and prevent a catastrophic conflict from engulfing the galaxy. Their investigation leads them deep into the heart of the Indomitable, to a secret laboratory hidden within the bowels of the ship. There, they discover a team of scientists working on a project so classified that even Ilara was unaware of its existence. The project, codenamed Prometheus, is revealed to be a cutting-edge artificial intelligence designed to interface with the mysterious signal that had drawn the Indomitable to the wormhole. The scientists, led by the brilliant but enigmatic Dr. Ilara Saros, believe that the signal holds the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe itself. But as Ilara and Zara delve deeper into the project, they begin to uncover a web of secrets and lies that threatens to unravel everything they thought they knew. They learn that Dr. Saros and her team have been working in secret with a faction of the Coalition, led by none other than Zethys himself. Zethys, it turns out, is no mere diplomat, but a master manipulator who has been pulling the strings from behind the scenes for decades. He believes that the key to the Coalition's survival lies in harnessing the power of the signal, and he will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. As Ilara and Zara race to uncover the truth, they are forced to confront the harsh realities of a galaxy on the brink of war. They learned that the saboteur was none other than Dr. Saros herself, who had been working with Zethys to sabotage the negotiations and force a confrontation between the humans and the Coalition. But even as they unravel the conspiracy, Ilara and Zara know that they are running out of time. The ancient enemy that Zethys had warned of is revealed to be a race of sentient machines, known as the Axiom, who had been waiting in the shadows for centuries, biding their time until the moment was right to strike. The Axiom, it turns out, are the ones who had sent the mysterious signal that had drawn the Indomitable to the wormhole. They had been watching and waiting, using the signal as a way to manipulate the younger races of the galaxy and sow chaos and discord among them. Now, with the galaxy on the brink of war and the Axiom poised to strike, Ilara and Zara know that they must act quickly to prevent a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. They race back to the bridge of the Indomitable, where they are met by a scene of chaos and confusion. The ship's sensors have detected a massive fleet of Axiom warships emerging from the depths of space and heading straight for the heart of the Coalition. The Indomitable, still damaged from its long journey through the wormhole, is the only ship in range that stands a chance of stopping them. Ilara knows that she has no choice but to take the fight to the enemy. She orders her crew to battle stations and prepares to engage the Axiom head-on. But even as she does so, she knows that the odds are stacked against them. The Axiom are a formidable enemy, with technology far beyond anything the humans or the Coalition have ever seen. They are ruthless and unrelenting, and they will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. But Ilara and her crew are not about to go down without a fight. They are the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and they have faced impossible odds before. They know that the fate of the galaxy rests on their shoulders, and they are determined to do whatever it takes to save it. As the Indomitable charges into battle, its weapons blazing and its shields straining under the onslaught of enemy fire, Ilara and Zara exchange a glance that speaks volumes. They know that they may not survive the coming fight, but they also know that they have no choice but to try. And so, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, the crew of the ISS Indomitable prepares to face their greatest challenge yet. They are the last line of defense against an enemy that threatens to destroy everything they hold dear, and they will not rest until the job is done. But as the battle rages around them, Ilara and Zara can't shake the feeling that there is more to this conflict than meets the eye. They know that the true nature of the threat they face is still shrouded in mystery, and that the answers they seek may lie beyond the veil of space and time itself. And so, as the Indomitable charges headlong into the unknown, its crew steels themselves for a journey that will take them to the very edge of the universe and beyond. They know that the road ahead will be long and hard, but they also know that they are the only ones who can save the galaxy from the darkness that threatens to engulf it. As the battle rages around them, Captain Ilara Vance and Ambassador Zara Vex know that they must act quickly to stem the tide of the Axiom advance. With the Indomitable's shields failing and its weapons systems pushed to their limits, they realize that their only hope lies in forging an alliance with the Coalition forces. Ilara opens a channel to the Coalition fleet, her voice steady and calm as she proposes a truce. She explains the nature of the threat they face and the urgent need for cooperation in the face of annihilation. At first, the Coalition leaders are hesitant, their trust in the humans still fragile after centuries of conflict and misunderstanding. But Zara steps forward, her voice ringing with conviction as she speaks to her fellow delegates. She reminds them of the principles upon which the Coalition was founded: unity, cooperation, and the belief that all sentient beings have the right to live in peace and freedom. She argues that the Axiom represent a threat to those principles, and that only by standing together can they hope to overcome it. Slowly, grudgingly, the Coalition leaders begin to come around. They realize that the humans, for all their past transgressions, are now their only hope of survival. And so, with a sense of grim determination, they agree to join forces with the Indomitable and its crew. As the two fleets converge, Ilara and her tactical officers begin to formulate a plan of attack. They know that the Axiom are a formidable enemy, with technology far beyond anything they have ever faced before. But they also know that they have one advantage: the element of surprise. Working together with the Coalition's top military minds, Ilara devises a daring strategy that will take the fight directly to the heart of the Axiom fleet. She proposes a multi-pronged assault, with the Indomitable and its fighter squadrons leading the charge while the Coalition ships provide cover fire and support. It's a risky plan, one that will require split-second timing and flawless execution. But Ilara knows that it's their only chance of success, and so, with a sense of grim determination, she gives the order to engage. The battle that follows is like nothing any of them have ever seen before. The Axiom ships are fast and maneuverable, their weapon systems cutting through the Indomitable's shields like a hot knife through butter. But the humans and their Coalition allies are no slouches either, their own ships and fighters darting and weaving through the enemy formation with a skill and precision born of decades of training and experience. At the center of it all is the Indomitable, its massive hull shuddering under the impact of enemy fire as it plows through the heart of the Axiom fleet. Its weapon systems are pushed to their limits, its crew working frantically to keep the ship in the fight as they take hit after hit. But even as the battle rages around them, Ilara and Zara know that they must find a way to end this conflict once and for all. They know that the Axiom are not acting alone, that there is a greater power at work behind the scenes, pulling the strings and manipulating events to its own ends. And so, even as they fight for their lives, and the lives of their crew, they begin to search for a way to unravel the mystery that lies at the heart of this conflict. They pore over the data they have collected, searching for clues and patterns that might lead them to the truth. And then, just when all seems lost, they find it. A single cryptic message hidden deep within the Axiom's communication network. It's a message that speaks of an ancient and powerful intelligence, one that has been watching and waiting for centuries, biding its time until the moment is right to strike. Ilara and Zara know that they have stumbled upon something far greater than they ever could have imagined. A threat that goes beyond the Axiom, beyond the Coalition, beyond anything they have ever faced before. They realize that the only way to stop it is to confront it head-on, to meet it on its own terms, and beat it at its own game. And so, with a sense of grim determination, they begin to formulate a plan that will take them beyond the edges of known space, into the very heart of darkness itself. They know that the road ahead will be long and hard, that they will face challenges and dangers beyond their wildest imaginings. But they also know that they have no choice. For the sake of the galaxy, for the sake of all the countless billions of lives that hang in the balance, they must press on, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. As the Indomitable and its allies charge headlong into the unknown, Captain Ilara Vance and Ambassador Zara Vex steel themselves for the fight of their lives. They know that the fate of the galaxy rests on their shoulders, and they are determined to see this through to the end, no matter what lies ahead. As the battle reaches its climax, the ISS Indomitable and the Coalition fleet find themselves locked in a desperate struggle against the Axiom forces. The enemy's ships seem to be endless, their weapons relentless, and their resolve unbreakable. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, Captain Ilara Vance and her crew refuse to give up. With the help of the Coalition's finest tactical minds, Ilara devises a bold and daring plan to take the fight directly to the heart of the Axiom fleet. She knows that the only way to end this conflict is to strike at the very source of the enemy's power, the ancient and mysterious intelligence that lies at the center of their network. And so, with a sense of grim determination, the Indomitable and its allies launch a final desperate assault on the Axiom stronghold. They fight their way through wave after wave of enemy ships, their weapons blazing and their shields straining under the onslaught of enemy fire. At the center of the maelstrom is the Indomitable itself, its hull battered and scarred but still unbowed. Its crew works tirelessly to keep the ship in the fight, pouring every ounce of their skill and determination into the battle. And then, just when all seems lost, they see it, a massive, pulsating structure at the very heart of the Axiom fleet. It's a construct unlike anything they have ever seen before, a vast and ancient machine that seems to throb with a malevolent intelligence. Ilara knows that this is their chance, their one opportunity to end this conflict once and for all. She gives the order to attack, and the Indomitable surges forward, its weapons locked onto the construct's vital systems. The battle that follows is like nothing any of them have ever experienced before. The construct fights back with a ferocity and a cunning that seems almost alien, its defenses adapting and evolving with every passing moment. But the Indomitable and its crew are not about to back down. They pour everything they have into the fight, their weapons hammering at the construct's shields and their fighters darting in and out of its defenses with reckless abandon. And then, with a final, desperate push, they break through, their weapons tearing through the construct's outer shell and exposing its vulnerable core. Ilara gives the order to fire, and the Indomitable's main cannon unleashes a blast of pure, searing energy that rips through the heart of the machine. For a moment, time seems to stand still. And then, with a blinding flash of light, the construct explodes, its ancient machinery shattering into a million pieces and its malevolent intelligence dissipating like smoke on the wind. The blast wave from the explosion ripples outward, engulfing the Axiom fleet and tearing through their ships like a hot knife through butter. And in that moment, the tide of the battle turns, the enemy's resolve crumbling and their ships falling back in disarray. As the smoke clears and the dust settles, the crew of the Indomitable and their coalition allies find themselves standing victorious on the field of battle. They have done the impossible. They have defeated an enemy that had threatened to destroy everything they held dear, and they have saved the galaxy from a fate worse than death. But even as they celebrate their victory, Ilara and Zara know that their work is far from over. They have uncovered a threat that goes far beyond the axiom. A threat that has been lurking in the shadows for centuries, waiting for the right moment to strike. They know that they must continue their mission, that they must delve deeper into the mysteries that surround them and uncover the truth about the ancient intelligence that had orchestrated this conflict from the very beginning. And so, with a sense of renewed purpose and determination, they set out once more into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges and dangers lie ahead, and determined to protect the galaxy from any and all threats that may arise. As the ISS Indomitable sets course for the stars, its crew stands ready to face the future, united in their resolve and strengthened by the bonds of friendship and loyalty that have been forged in the heat of battle. They know that the road ahead will be long and hard, but they also know that they are not alone, that they have each other, and that together they can overcome anything that the universe may throw their way. And so, with a sense of hope and optimism, they charge headlong into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges may come, and determined to build a brighter future for all the peoples of the galaxy.